Yeah. 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 Yeah.
I'm Carl. I'm supposed to enter as a novice.
We expected you sooner. Weren't you supposed to come here with your guardian? It's been so hectic lately, people will keep turning up out of the blue.
He gave me the papers and left me at the gate. You must be used to that, though. I'm not the first novice here, am I?
But that wasn't very considerate of him, was it? It's been so hectic here lately, novices arriving one after the other. The last one didn't even have a letter, and you'd think his backside was on fire, the way he kept looking over his shoulder.
You took him without the letter? You didn't find that suspicious?
My guess is he wanted to hide from someone, but he's a priest and knows how things work in the monastery, so there was nothing to prevent him from being accepted, at least temporarily. You're a different case, though. Are you able to read?
Naturally. I wouldn't be here otherwise.
So then, are you ready to enter the Order of Saint Benedict and renounce forever the temptations of this world?
I am.
Then you must rid yourself of all your worldly possessions. Sell them or give them to the poor and needy or donate them to the monastery. You may not enter this place burdened by worldly goods. Inside the gatehouse is a trunk in which you will find monk's robes. Put away all your possessions and dress yourself in the habit. Then you may rest a while I go and see the prior to arrange matters for your acceptance. May the Lord watch over you.
Strange feeling being without all of that. I didn't realise how much I'd grown used to it.
Everything's prepared. It's time for you to take your vows.
Do I really have to wear this?
You'd better get used to it. You'll be wearing it for the rest of your life.
Brothers in Christ, we have gathered here today to welcome a new novice into our midst. Dear brother, forget your former life and embrace your new vocation in the community of the monks of St. Benedict. Opus Dei, obedientia, obprobria, the service of God, obedience, and endurance of all discomfort. These are the cornerstones and succor of our order, which on this day shall become your own. Suscipe me, Domine, secundum eloquium tuum, et vivam, et non confundas me ab expectatione mea.
Suscipe me, Domine, secundum in loquium tuum vivam, et non confundas me ab expectatione mea.
Accept your new name, Brother Gregor, and wear it with honor. Welcome, brother.
Welcome, brother. I am Antonius, a novice like you. I've been instructed to guide you around the monastery and tell you what you can expect and what your duties will be.
Thanks for helping me out during the ceremony. I had no idea what I was supposed to do.
You don't know Latin, do you? Don't worry. Work in the scriptorium will teach you fast enough. Why exactly are you here? Was it your choice? Or did someone force you to come?
I'm being punished. If it were up to me, I'd still be spending my days in taverns and my nights with whores.
I don't envy you. Unfortunately, you're here for the rest of your life.
Would you tell me something about yourself?
I'm a novice and I'm here because I'd make a poor merchant. I like books and I want an education. Although I must say, so far the monastic life's been quite unexpected.
Let's go then.
Good. But before we do, here's a letter directly from the prior telling you all your regular duties from tomorrow onwards. Make sure to read it this evening, so you know how things work. Right, we can go now. Follow me closely. I'll explain everything as we go. Remember one word: discipline. It's your job to work and pray. You serve the Lord now, not your own bodily needs. Salve Domine.
God be with you.
This is the way to the dormitory, where we all sleep. You'll find a free bed there, which is now yours. Do you know the first thing the monastery taught me? To appreciate sleep. We rise before dawn every day. Takes a bit of getting used to.
These novices. I'd pull those idlers by the ears.
What have they done to you this time, brother?
They're shirking
This
their
is the garden,
responsibilities, leaving
a place
us
for silent
superiors to
contemplation
chase
and
after
meditation.
them, finishing what they
Centuries
don't.
ago, this
Did you
monastery
have
was
to
founded
finish
by the
someone's
most
weeding in
esteemed
the
of
garden
brothers,
again?
Saint
Yes,
Procopius.
again.
His
I've
earthly
had enough
remains
of it.
can be found in a cave under the monastery, and his spirit wanders the corridors at night, punishing any misbehaving novices. So beware. Here are the frattery and scriptorium, together with the library. These are the places where we work. Ora et labora. Pray and work. As a novice, you must always listen to your superior brethren, and above us monks are the prior and the circators, who punish every infraction. You'll know them by the canes they carry. Do what they say. This is the refectory, where we come together to eat. During meals, you must be silent. Only one brother reads aloud from the Rule of Saint Benedict.
The rule is the only law we recognize, with the exception of those from God himself. If you break any of its... But I've already told you about the circuitors. The library, the pride of our monastery, a trove of learning. We don't just read books here, we also copy them you too will learn how. And that's all. Today you are still free from duty, but tomorrow you begin work like the others. If you need anything, ask any of the brothers. We will be glad to help you. And I recommend you get to know the other novices. You already know me. Then there is Siskin, Yodok, and Lucas.
Thanks for showing me around. There's a lot to learn here.
Will you tell me something about yourself?
There's not much to tell. I lived in Vlashim, and after my father died, I found out I wasn't much of a merchant. So I left the shop to my brother and decided to become a monk. It's peaceful here. There's food and lots of time to read.
So you chose to come here?
It may seem strange, but I'm one of the few novices that did. I might be the only one. The truth is, the idea of spending my life in a monastery was more appealing than being cooped up in a greasy old shop.
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery. Who's in charge of things around here?
Truthfully, everyone except us. But officially, Abbot Peter. And soon enough, someone else. As if it mattered. Our life will still be work and prayer.
I see. Are there any rifts between the brothers?
Yes. From the moment talk began about electing a new abbot, it's been like a hornet's nest here. Strange you haven't noticed.
Tell me something about electing the abbot.
Abbot Peter is old. When he dies, they'll have to select a new abbot from amongst the brethren. The candidates are John and Nevlas. And if you ask me for my opinion, Nevlas is definitely the right man. Unfortunately, no one cares about my opinion because novices get no say.
Tell me something about life here.
Work, prayer, as if you didn't know. We serve God, and that's the central truth of our lives.
What are the roles of the various monks here?
Someone takes care of the library, someone else the garden. The abbot supervises everyone, and in his absence, the prior. But it's the circators you should worry about. They're the brothers who'll make sure we observe the rule. They can be quite strict, so if you want to avoid getting punished, always act righteously and do your duties honestly.
Well, that's all. Thank you for your time, brother. I'm Gregor and I'm new here.
I know. I saw you in the church during the ceremony. I have a feeling we'll be meeting again soon, and often. You see, I'm a circator.
What does that mean?
I make sure everyone observes the rule, does their work, and that everything is the way it should be.
And when it's not the way it should be?
Then we're authorized to mete out punishment. But certainly you won't require correction, will you, brother?
About you in the election, will you tell me more about it?
Ask me anything you want.
Tell me something about Nevlas.
Nevlas is weak and toothless. He's full of hot hair. How anyone could think he'd make a good abbot is beyond me. Enough. I don't even want to hear his name again.
I'd like to know what's going on here.
Well, the young brothers feel they don't have the same rights and responsibilities as we, who have spent much of our lives here. And what of it? Privilege needs to be earned.
You're right.
Nevlas is lying when he says he wants to right wrongs.
Not the first time.
All he cares about are the benefits for himself and his cronies.
It's a wonder the prior doesn't check everyone's breath in the morning. Then he'd soon get his man.
Things will get worse. I can feel it.
Thank you for answering.
The things you say.
My joints started aching just before they raised.
I found this piece of parchment. It looks like it's been ripped out of a book.
Who'd tear up a book like that? Brother Librarian might know.
Might be wrong. And besides, God will be our protector.
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery.
Praise be to our Lord Jesus.
Tell me something about life here.
Prayer, work, obedience. That just about sums it up.
Can you tell me something about the rule of St. Benedict?
7 centuries ago, St. Benedict of Nursia wrote a collection of monastic rules, which we still follow today. They're read at every meal. The fundamental precepts are obedience, work, and prayer. We're fully devoted to serving God. The outside world, beyond the monastery walls, is foreign to us.
Do you never want to know what's going on out there?
And what should be going on? The sky is just as blue, the grass is just as green. Perhaps the ruler's changed, but the greatest ruler of them all will remain unchanged throughout the ages.
I'm interested in the monastery's history.
Well, it was founded by Saint Procopius 500 years ago. After his death, heretics occupied the place for some time. But then the order was restored and the brothers of the true faith returned.
Heretics, you say?
They wanted to worship God with some foreign rituals, in a language foreign to God. They were driven away and their books burned.
What are the roles of the various monks here?
Well, the abbot is the head, but he's not here now. Then there's the prior, the sub-prior, the librarian, the porter, many others. As a novice, you should be particularly mindful of the cicatas. They're the ones who maintain discipline and punish bad behavior.
What can you tell me about the novices here?
And what can I say? You're here to demonstrate your devotion to God and to live a monastic life. After a year, you can make your vows and become a fully fledged brother.
I meant something specific about the brothers that are here.
But you know them yourself. Yorick is an odd one, but he's diligent and eager, perhaps too eager. Siskin is good company, but a bit too worldly for a monk. Antonius is hard-working and will help with anything, but prays less than he ought. Lucas is as quiet as a mouse, and no one knows much about him. And then we have you, about who I know nothing.
Can you leave the monastery?
Where would you go? You've everything you need here. Anyway, all the doors here are closed and locked tight, so no one can get in or out.
Who's in charge of things around here?
Oh, Abbot Peter is the administrator of the monastery, but you won't see him. He's always travelling on. On top of that, he's old and infirm. Perhaps the good Lord will bless him with many more years of life.
And what happens when the old abbot dies?
Well, then we elect a new one.
Servus.
My name's Gregor, a novice.
You can call me Siskin. Now, are you here of your own free will, or is this a punishment? Although it's not important. Welcome to purgatory.
Did you say purgatory?
You'll see soon enough. Soon enough.
It's a mystery.
Will you tell me something about yourself?
Look, nothing against you, but I prefer not to talk about my past.
Very well. I won't ask.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'd be interested to hear what you think about the other novices. Tell me about Antonius.
Well, if there was a monk I'd recommend as a friend, with of course the exception of myself, it would be Antonius. He has a calm soul, he's easy to talk to, and you can always rely on him.
That's all. Thanks. Who would you elect, Abbot, if you could?
Most likely Nevlas. He's a fine fellow and he seems honest. But, truth be told, it doesn't matter much to me. A monastery will still be a monastery, no matter who's in charge. If you really want to talk more about it, ask Antonius. He seems to have taken an interest.
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery.
I've read one of the manuscripts copied by one of the novices.
Well, that's all. Thank you for your time, brother.
Touching? More like infuriating. A horrible, abominable waste of parchment.
I'm Gregor, a novice. I saw you at the ceremony.
I know. It was hard not to notice you.
And you are?
Lucas, also a novice. Don't get upset, but I don't want to talk to you. I'm happiest alone.
I'd like to know something about the other novices.
I don't know much, but ask away.
What can you tell me about Siskin?
Not a lot. I don't know him. Actually, I don't know much about him at all, except that he's not a stickler for rules.
Tell me about Antonius.
I'd like to, but there's nothing to tell. I've never spoken to him, and I've never asked about him.
Greetings, brother. I'm Gregor, and I'm new here.
Greetings to you, brother. I'm Yodok, the oldest of the novices. I hope you'll like it here in the monastery and that you won't get into trouble.
Trouble?
You're young, perhaps intemperate. You might easily stray from the rules of the order. I suggest you get to know the older monks. You never know when it might come in handy.
I'm interested in the other novices. What can you tell me about Siskin?
Oh, he's always got a smile on the new friend. But I reckon he don't belong in the monastery. He spends more time dreaming of the world outside than tending to his duties. I'm surprised he hasn't been thrown out already. If it was up to me, he'd be out on his ear right away.
I can feel it in my joints. The things you say.
Sounds like you don't have much time for him.
I wouldn't trust him as far as I could throw him. Believe me, Gregor, he's hiding something from us. In fact, now I come to think of it, I haven't seen him at morning prayers for a while.
Do you know anything about Antonius?
Only that he came to the monastery voluntarily, because he didn't want to work in his father's shop. Antonius is all right. You can rely on him. He won't betray your confidence. He's always happy to help, which is more than can be said for the other brothers.
I'm interested in Lucas.
Nobody knows much about Lucas. He keeps himself to himself. If you ask me, he's got something to hide. I'd keep well clear of him if I was you.
Do you have any grounds for suspecting him of something?
Quite a lot. And also none at all. The circators who make the rounds despise him, and they'd never punish anyone without cause.
Can you tell me something about yourself?
I would if there was anything noteworthy to say. But I'm just the ordinary son of a landowner, now a monk. There's nothing in my past, present, or future that anyone could find interesting.
Why did you join the monastery?
Because it was better than living in poverty. As the youngest son, I'm not entitled to inherit my father's estate, but he was kind enough to sell off some cattle and send me here. And you know what? I'm glad to be here. It's better than mucking out manure.
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery. Well, that's all. Thank you for your time, brother. I'm Gregor, a novice.
I know. I saw you at the ceremony. My name is Nebulus, and I'm the provost here. I'm in charge of the monastery's property, as well as handling trade with the outside world.
That means you get to leave the monastery?
No, not at all. I just write lists and send them out.
Tell me about yourself.
I'm the provost of this monastery. It's my job to ensure the monks live a humble life and that any surpluses go to the poor. But in reality, I spend all my time making sure my brother's gluttony and the construction of a new church don't swallow up the few resources we have left.
I'm interested in the election of the new abbot.
You're not alone. Everyone's so worked up about that they spent no time considering how they could make the monastery a better place now.
Why? What's wrong with it now?
Many brothers think more about their stomachs than prayer. The older brethren bend the rules of the order to make them fit their interests. So, to balance the scales, they want the novices to lead exemplary lives. Sin abounds here, just as in the outside world.
What sins are you talking about?
The scripture says, "Let he who is without sin cast the first stone." I'm sorry, Gregor, it's not my place to speak about the sins of others.
Tell me something about how the new abbot will be elected.
A new abbot has to be elected once the old one dies. All the brethren can vote, with the exception of novices. The abbot's crozier will be conferred on whoever is chosen, and he'll take the vow. When he becomes abbot, a monk spends most of his time dealing with politics outside the monastery, instead of actually leading the monastery. But he still maintains a fundamental influence on life here.
Can you tell me about Abbot Peter?
Peter's wise in the ways of politics and a good shepherd, but as you've already heard, he's old and infirm. The other brothers see him with one foot in the grave, but I still have hope for him. But you, brother, don't let yourself get involved in the games of your superiors. Could you help me with something?
With what?
I'm interested in medicine, and I know there's a cure for the abbot's ailment. With your help, I could find out the details, and together you and I could give old Peter a few more years to do good. What do you say?
You can count on my help. What do you need me to do?
In order to get the recipe for this medicament, a few rules will need to be broken. Now you know most of the brothers believe every illness is a message from God, and that it's not our place to deny his will. I, however, think if God sent us not just illnesses, but also the medicine to cure them, then it's our duty to relieve people of their suffering. The cure for Abbot Peter's illness could be contained in one of the books in our library, but it will certainly be amongst the Libri Prohibiti, the forbidden books, those we aren't permitted to read.
Why are they forbidden?
Because they contain occult and demonic practices, witchcraft and all manner of evil. Or so some people claim. It's nonsense, of course. This is nothing but a book of medicine, albeit one written by a pagan. Ibn Sina, also known as Avicenna, is universally acknowledged to be a wise man. But here, at some point, someone decided his book is the work of a Saracen devil and must be kept under lock and key. Since then, no one can even talk about the book. But the three wise men were from the East, were they not?
Where can I find it?
In the library, there's a large cabinet with a lock on it. The forbidden books are inside. You'll easily recognize what you're looking for. The cover has not only a Latin inscription, but also Saracen letters. Bring it to me, but leave the other books there. No one will notice if one book disappears, but if more were to vanish, someone would certainly begin to look into it, which is exactly what we don't want.
Is there anything you can tell me that would help?
There's a key to the cabinet in the prior's chambers. The librarian should have another one, or you can acquire some lockpicks. But I can't tell you where or how. Perhaps Brother Salarius could help.
Why can't you do it yourself?
Because I'm one of the highest-ranking monks here, and one day I'd like to become abbot. Can you imagine me crawling around in the black of night searching for a forbidden book?
You could just ask for it.
Do you honestly think I haven't tried? Unfortunately, Librarian Cyril is a stubborn ass.
I'm ready.
One more important thing. There's always someone in the library during the day. To pass unwatched, you'll need to go at night. It's locked, but I'm sure you'll manage to get in. They say Brother Salarius understands locks, but don't tell him why you need it. Once you have the book, bring it to me, and I'll then use it to make Peter's medicine. We'll soon have the election of the abbot over and done with.
Here's the book you wanted.
Amazing. This really is it. Now I can use it to prepare a cure for our suffering abbot. Then I'll leave it in the library to make it seem as if Brother Librarian left it lying about. There'll be no investigation. It would be against his best interests, as he'll look like the one who wasn't taking proper care of the books. It will drive him mad. I didn't leave that book out, or did I? Is there anything I can do for you in return?
I'd be interested in finding out the background of the other novices.
That's a strange wish you have. And the only ones who know everything about the novices are the abbot and the prior. They keep a record of every monk in the abbot's book, but you'll never get your hands on it. It's locked up in the prior's study.
Thanks. You've helped me immensely.
No, thank you. About that book, don't even think about breaking in to get it.
I'm interested in the election of the new abbot.
You're not alone.
Why? What's wrong with... I'd be interested to know more about Brother John.
I don't like to speak ill of people, but Circuitor John is the worst person the monks could pick to represent them. He's nothing but an old schemer and pedant who preaches water but drinks wine. He's won the older brethren over because they know he won't call an end to their debauchery.
Why do you want to become abbot?
Because when I see the way things are headed around here, I have no other option. Itinerant preachers speak of the corrupted black heart of the church, and I can't deny there's truth in what they say. I'd like to change things and bring back meaning and esteem to the monastery.
That's all. Thank you.
Peace be with you, brother.
Ah! This looks like the Saracen language.
What do they do?
You're right. It stunk like a wine barrel in there.
What troubles you?
It's not the first
Give us
time.
the slop that's left over.
Yeah, it's a mystery.
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery.
It's a wonder the prior doesn't check everyone's breath in the morning. Then he'd soon get his man.
Those were the days.
Who would you like to be the new abbot?
John, there's no other candidate. Nevertheless just babbles on and on. Don't take him seriously.
Are there ever any disagreements between the brothers?
Unfortunately, yes. The biggest quarrels right now are about the election of the new abbot. They can already see poor Peter in his grave.
I understand.
Gregor, talk to me.
Listen, brother. Is there anyone in the monastery who can help me get hold of something, well, something that's not so readily available?
If you're looking to get into mischief, I'm certainly not going to help you.
What would you like?
Is it possible to learn something about the other novices in the library?
Only the abbot and the prior keep such records.
And can I see them?
No. The abbot writes and keeps his records in his chambers, and only he and the prior are permitted to read them.
I found this piece of parchment. It looks like it's been ripped out of a book. Do you know what it is?
It appears to be a page torn out of Ovid.
Ovid? What is that? Is it the name of a book?
Not what, but who? Ovid was a great Roman poet. We have a few volumes by him in the library, but one of them vanished one day. Now I believe I can guess what happened. Brother Eustace, may the earth rest lightly on him, was quite narrow-minded when it came to classical literature. If a book had any mention of woman at all, he condemned it as a heretical work. If he'd had his way, all such books would have been burned. Ovid's The Art of Love must have been such a thorn in his side that he stole it from the library, tore it up, and hid the pages wherever he could.
Oh, would you like me to put the book back together again?
Absolutely! Eustace's wits weren't the sharpest, so I'm sure he didn't destroy any of the pages. I imagine he hid them throughout the monastery. It might take you a while to find them all, but when you do, you can rest assured Ovid will return to his rightful place in the library.
That's not a job for me. I'm sorry.
A pity. It wouldn't have taken up much of your time. But if you happen to run into something... no matter. I won't keep you any longer.
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery.
A handful. There was dozens of them. And foreign heathens, too.
Is that right?
There was a...
These novices. What do
I
they do
pull
in
those
that
idlers
kitchen?
by the ears.
What
I bet
have they
they
done
keep the
to you this
tastiest
time,
morsels
brother?
for themselves.
They're shirking their responsibilities, leaving us, their superiors, to chase around after them.
You've seen us drinking here, so either join in or swear you won't tell a soul. You won't want to end up like Lucas now, would you?
All right. I wouldn't mind some wine.
That's more like it. Sit down and have a drink, my lad. Quite right, brother. Just sit down and drink with us. When the wine runs out, Yorick will fetch more.
What is it, brother?
What are you doing here?
What does it look like, drinking?
But we're all monks.
Youngster, when you're as old as I, you'll understand.
Why not? I've had enough opprobria and obedientia for one day.
That's what we like to hear.
Let's drink.
That's the idea. And what should we drink to?
How about to the abbot?
To the abbot it is. But wait a minute, lad. Which one?
To Abbot John.
That's more like it.
You mentioned Yodok. What does he do for you?
Well, nothing much. He's just a little suckling like you. He'll do whatever it takes to stay on our good side. Sometimes we may...
You mentioned Yodok. What does he do for you?
Well, nothing much. He's just a little suckling like you. He'll do whatever it takes to stay on our good side. Sometimes we make use of him when there are errands to run.
Where'd you get the wine from? I thought the monastery cellars were guarded.
So they are. But this wine isn't from the monastery. Listen, lad, would you help us out with something? This cask is almost empty and we need a new one. We're a bit old for such exertions, but you, on the other hand...
I'll help you. What do I need to do?
Ha! I knew it. Help Novice Yorick arrange for a new cask. Talk to him first thing in the morning, and by tomorrow night, the cask can be on the table.
All right, I'll talk to him.
What is it, brother?
Let's drink.
That's the idea. And what should we drink to?
How about to the abbot?
To the abbot it is. But wait a minute, lad. Which one?
To Abbot John.
That's more like it.
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery. I'll be going, brothers. It's been good to sit with you a while.
Do us a favor, brother. Stay a little longer and have another drink with us. Here, some wine for you.
Oh, all right, but that's the last cup. Let's drink.
That's the idea. And what should we drink to?
How about to the abbot?
To the abbot it is. But wait a minute, lad. Which one?
To Abbot John.
That's more like it. I'll say one thing, brother. This wine would grace the Pope's table.
I'm not so sure. It's a bit sour. God knows what's in it.
Don't be absurd. It's a first-class cask, direct from Zneumann.
Oh, I know the taste of a good vintage.
The forbidden books must be in that cabinet. have we here? That's it. The book with information about the novices. Interesting. But I still don't know which one of them is pious.
Salve Domine.
The spirit of silence ought to lead us at times to refrain even from good speech. So much the more ought the punishment for sin make us avoid evil words. Therefore, since the spirit of silence is so important, permission to speak should rarely be granted even to perfect disciples, even though it be for good, holy, edifying conversation. For it is written, "In much speaking you will not escape sin." And in another place, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue." For speaking and teaching belong to the master. The disciple's part is to be silent and to listen. And for that reason, if anything has to be asked of the superior, it should be asked with all the humility and submission inspired by reverence. But as for coarse jests and idle words, or words that move to laughter, these we condemn everywhere with
Gregor,
perpetual
talk to me.
And for such conversation we do not permit a disciple to open his mouth.
I'm looking for something a little,
Rule of Saint Benedict,
unorthodox.
reading
And what would that be
the first
exactly?
degree of humility is obedience without delay. This is the virtue of those who hold nothing dearer.
I need to get some wine.
Who, because of the holy
You're not the only
service
one.
they have professed,
But I have to
and
keep
fear
records of all
hell,
the casks,
glory
and the
of
prior
life
checks on them.
as
If you
soon
notice
as
any
anything
loss
is
straight away.
ordered by the
Just like our
Lord,
food, everything's
receive it
rationed.
as a divine
So I'm
command,
sorry, but I'll
and
have to
suffer
disappoint you,
any
brother.
delay in executing it. But this very obedience will be acceptable
Oh,
to
nothing
God
really,
and
come to think of
pleasing
it.
to men only if what is commanded is done without hesitation.
I'd like to ask you something about the
Delay,
monastery.
lukewarmness, grumbling, or objection. For the obedience given to superiors is given to God. For if the disciple obeys with an ill will and earnest, not necessarily with his lips, but simply in his heart, then even though he fulfills the command, yet his word will not
Talk to me, brother.
God, who sees that his heart is murmuring, and far from
Will you tell me something about yourself?
as this
Look, nothing against you, but I prefer not to talk about my past.
he amend and make satisfaction. The rule of Saint Benedict, reading.
Are you hiding something? Why are you so reluctant to tell me anything about yourself?
I'm hiding a lousy past that I'd rather forget.
I hate to think of all I lost when they stuck me in here. And also because I really hate the question, aren't you the son of the famed Sir Smil Flashka of Pardubitz? I was rich and I had everything. But then my father began to feel his time approaching, so he decided to send a son to the monastery. And, being the youngest, the lot fell on me. I've no head for managing the estate, and they said I'd squander it. Can you imagine? Me in a monastery. So I took what coin I could from home with me, so I didn't lose out completely.
Death and life are in the power of the tongue. For speaking and teaching belong to the master. The disciples' part is to be silent.
But you didn't have to come here if you didn't want to.
No, not if I didn't mind being left to beg alms by the city gate. I had one choice, the monastery or nothing. If it had come to that after my father's death, so be it. But to get rid of me while he's still alive...
They must have realised you robbed them.
I donated some of the silver to the monastery when I came in, just to piss them off. I can just see my my siblings, arguing with the abbot to give it back.
And you stashed away the remainder?
Indeed so.
What's your plan with this treasure?
To get out of here as soon as I can. I'll wait another year or two until my hot-headed brothers cool off a bit, and then I'll take the silver and run off somewhere, far, far away from here.
That's all I wanted to know.
Please, keep it to yourself, especially the part about the coin.
For the obedience given to superiors is given to...
I'm still curious about this treasure trove of yours.
It's no big terrible secret. Really, it isn't. I just go and read during services. There's no time otherwise. I mean, at other times I don't get to read what I like. And I keep it under the slab so the others don't find it.
What kind of a book is it?
I found it here in the library. It was on a shelf where it should never have been. So I hid it to read later. It's the Necronomicon. Ghosts, demons, and invocations of powers beyond our world. Only it's written in a strange language that I can't really make sense of. All bara this and bara that. Who knows what it means? I tried to count the syllables, read the words backwards, but nothing. I'm not getting anywhere with it.
Oh, I'm not too sure what the prior or the cicada would say about a book like that. Actually, what anyone would say. It sounds quite... prohibited.
Prejudice. But you're right, it is prohibited. For no good reason, though. Has knowledge ever done anybody any harm?
Such a way as not to disturb anyone else. Let none be said rather early, at the middle of the 8th hour.
You're right. Knowledge should never be prohibited.
Oh, I'm glad you agree. Just take a look at the book. Maybe you'll be able to make some sense of it. I haven't grasped a single syllable. Just please don't tell anyone about the book. If the brothers learn that I took it from the library and hid it, I'll be in a lot of trouble. Our brothers' minds are closed to a thirst for knowledge.
Therefore, when anyone receives the name of abbot, he ought to govern his disciples with a...
Actually, I don't care. God save.
Say, he should show them all that is good and holy, by his deeds even more than by his words, expounding the Lord's commandments in...
How is it that you don't get any penance for missing morning prayers?
I've paid off the circators to turn a blind eye. And the other monks don't notice as long as you show your face there from time to time. No one's too awake at that time of the morning.
And should know that to whom more is committed, from him more is required. Let him make no distinction of persons...
In the middle of the night, I saw the brother circators drinking and playing dice.
How marvellous! Did you join in? More importantly, can I join in next time?
Siskin? I thought it wasn't allowed.
If the circators can, we all can.
That's not how it works, though, is it?
I know. A double standard. The elder brothers can do as they please, but they're the ones preaching about morality to us.
Those of good understanding, let him correct with verbal admonition the first and second time. But bold, hard...
There's something I should tell you. Something you won't be happy to hear. I'm here to find someone and, well, to do away with him. But listen, it's not murder. Not when it's a man like him. He's one of the brigands who burned down Neuhof. He doesn't deserve to live.
What's he doing here? And who are you?
They call him pious because he used to be a priest. When he found out a lot of people were after him, he hid away here. And as you can see, escaped suspicion. They sent me here to find him and bring him to justice. He's one of the novices.
So we have one outlaw and one assassin in our midst. This place is a lot more exciting than I expected. Do you know who it is?
Well, that's just it. It could be Antonius?
Antonius? He's a fine fellow. No, it can't be him. Although, you never know what's hiding beneath a man's skin.
See how hard it is? It could be anyone, and at the same time, nobody in particular.
Not necessarily with his lips, but simply in his heart. Then even though he
I won't tell you more, and I'd like you to keep silent about this too.
You're talking about killing in the monastery. I really should report it.
Would you do that? I have a feeling you wouldn't.
You're right. I'll keep it to myself. I've got problems enough of my own without involving myself in yours. And besides, I mean to be gone from here within a year, so why should I care what happens with the monastery?
Thank you, Siskin. I appreciate it.
I have set a guard to my mouth. I was mute and was humbled and kept silence even from good things. Here the prophet shows that if the spirit of silence ought to lead us at times to refrain even from good speech, so much the more ought the punishment for sin make us avoid evil words. Therefore, since the spirit of silence is so important, permission to speak should rarely be granted even to perfect disciples, even though it be for good, holy, edifying conversation.
In the night, I overheard the cicadas in the cellar. They were talking about you.
Oh, no. So it's still not over. This isn't a life in service of God. This is purgatory.
Lucas, what's going on?
What do you think? Just like you, I saw the cicadas drinking and playing hazard as if they were in a brothel.
If anything has to be asked of the superior, it should be asked with all the humility and submission.
You should have joined them.
Join them in their sinful pursuits. Yes, perhaps I should have. But I refuse to do it.
I warned them if they didn't stop, I'd go and tell the prior. But instead of mending their ways, they vented their anger on me.
You've picked the wrong people to make enemies of, Lucas, they told me. Now, I can't even count how many days and nights I've spent locked up in solitary confinement for the tiniest offences, or for no offence at all.
And the fear of hell and the glory of life everlasting, as soon as anything has been ordered by the superior.
Is there something I can do to help?
Would you?
Cannot suffer any delay in execution.
I think all it might take is for you to go and sit down with them, have a talk, set things straight, then they'd leave me alone. But I'm afraid even this path leads nowhere. They'd probably start hounding you as well.
For the obedience given to superiors is
I'm not afraid of them.
Brother, you have the courage I lack. May the grace of God be upon you.
But simply in his heart, then even though he fulfills the command, yet his work will not be acceptable to God, who sees that his heart is murmuring. And
I've heard that you,
for such work as this,
well, that you enjoy the company of men. Is there any truth to it?
What? How do you know that?
I read it in the abbot's book.
What? The abbot's book is locked up in his chambers, and he'd never allow anyone to read it. Did you break in? But why? Just so you could dig something up on me?
I was looking for something else, but I just happened to come across your story.
No matter what you were looking for, you crossed a line that shouldn't be crossed. But don't worry, I won't tell on you if you promise me the same. Yes, you can call me a sodomite, a sinner, a monster, the spawn of Satan. But tell me this, Gregor. Can I help the way I am? I tell you, it's a test of my faith. A test so daunting you can't even imagine it.
good, holy, edifying conversation. For it is written,
You're right.
in much speaking,
I found it interesting, but I'm not judging you. You are the way you are. You should be true to yourself.
I'm glad you aren't like the others. Thank you for not passing judgment. I swear to God, I've never lain with another man. I've never sinned. When my father wanted me to find a wife and start a family, I told him the truth, and he had me sent here. And in a way, I was glad. My guilt had been consuming me, and I knew in the monastery I'd find peace. The Lord sees my soul, and he knows it's pure.
We do not permit a disciple to open his mouth. The rule of Saint Benedict, readings on humility. The first degree of humility is obedience without delay.
Ah, Gregor, talk to me.
This is the virtue of those who hold nothing dearer to them than Christ, who, because of the holy
Brother Cicator, my friend.
What would you like? To be relieved from duties?
No, I'm here because of Novice Lucas. I've heard there's some discord with him.
Only because that weasel wants to put an end to our nighttime fun. So, we're letting him know who's in charge here.
I'd appreciate it if you treat him like a brother again.
Well, if he isn't afraid of us, there's nothing to stop him ratting us out. But what do you care anyway? Grown fond of him, have you?
To superiors is given to God. For if the disciple obeys with an ill will and murmurs, not necessarily with his lips, but simply in his heart, then even though he fulfills...
He hates you because you trample all over him and he has nothing to lose. If you show him just a bit of kindness, he'll think again about taking you on. You'll see.
Fine, you've convinced me. You can tell him things have been straightened out, but he'd better be on his best behavior from now on. Beware of Lucas. He might corrupt you.
What do you mean?
He's a sodomite, a sinner. He might try to get you into the habit, or out of it.
Because of the holy service they have professed, and the fear of hell, and the glory of life everlasting.
I didn't know that. Thanks for the warning.
It as a divine command, and cannot suffer any delay in executing it. But this very obedience will be acceptable to God and pleasing to men only if what is commanded is done without hesitation.
I spoke to the Cicators about how they've been treating you.
Really? Did you manage to convince them to leave me alone?
To superiors is given to God. For if the disciple
But you have to promise not to tell anyone what you saw them doing. Then they'll leave you alone.
That's a promise I'd be glad to make. I'm forever in your debt, brother. Because now I know I can trust you, there's something I want to tell you. It's about Brother Antonius. I wouldn't like to say something that isn't true. God forbid I should cause harm by my words, but this is something I'm sure of. Novice Antonius is lying to us.
What makes you say that?
He claims he's a merchant's son from Vlashim, and that he joined the order voluntarily. The thing is, I spent a great deal of time in Vlashim. I know it like the back of my hand, and no one even remotely like Antonius has ever lived there.
Are you sure? Because this could mean that...
It's true, or Canute isn't my name. That would be my secular name, by the way, but that's not important. I know Vlashim, and I know the local merchants there, and I've never seen Antonius among them. Why would he be lying if he had nothing to hide?
Thank you for telling me. I'll look into it.
The rule of Saint Benedict. Readings on the spirit of silence. Let us do what the prophet says. I said, I will guard my ways, that I may not sin with my tongue. I have set a guard to my mouth. I was mute and was humbled and kept silence even for...
Peace be with you, brother.
Talk to me, brother.
I've heard you're from Vlashim.
Yes, why do you ask? And more importantly, where did you hear it? Since I'm quite sure I've never told you. Honestly, the monks like to gossip more than old wives at the market.
Because I've heard otherwise. You aren't from Vlashim. You made it all up.
And who told you that? Whoever it was, he's a liar. It's complete nonsense.
I've heard you're from Vlashim.
Yes, why do you ask? And more importantly, where did...
I've read the abbot's book. It's got everything he knows about the novices.
Why? Why would you do that?
That doesn't matter. What matters is the abbot doesn't believe your little fairy tale either.
What's so implausible about it? I've always been more interested in books. So I left my brother the shop and came here to live a good life.
I have set a guard to my mouth. I was mute and was humbled and kept silence even.
You see, I'm looking for someone in the monastery. Someone who's lied about who he is. And you fit that description perfectly.
But I told you, I've never lied to anyone.
That's funny. I think you're lying to me right now.
Do you think you're entitled to met out justice? Who gave you the right? I'm sorry, but I don't want to have anything more to do with you, Gregor. You're a lunatic, and the prior ought to be warned about you.
In much speaking, you will not escape sin. And in another place, death.
If you so much as open your mouth about this.
Then what? You think you can threaten me? You better watch yourself, Gregor. You don't know me at all.
Listen. And for that reason, if anything has to be asked of a superior,
Ah, Gregor, talk to me.
I need to make a confession.
I'm no priest, but tell me what you've done. It's probably nothing to worry about.
I'm here in the monastery looking for a thief. He had a hand in burning down the Neuhof stud.
You don't say. And who are you to take such an interest?
That's not important.
Why are you telling me this anyway? What do you want from me?
Perhaps you could help me find him?
The missing thief? If I knew anything, I'd tell you, but I suppose it must be one of the novices. I've only recently heard about the Neuhof incident, and all the other brethren have been here much longer than that.
I know. Aside from me, there are only 4 novices, but still, I don't know which one he could be.
3? Please, leave me out of it. And you're right that it could be any one of them. No one knows anything about Lucas. Siskin might be a lot of things, but a monk isn't one of them. And Yodok is a slimy worm. It wouldn't surprise me if he was behind that massacre. Actually, the more I think about it, the less I like that Yodok. He's a treacherous rat who'd do anything to get in someone's good books. The thought of Yodok at Neuhof sends chills up my spine.
I don't think it was him. But please, don't tell a soul what we've been talking about.
Don't fret, my friend. Your secrets are locked inside my lips.
I know you're pious. The man I've been looking for.
So you're finally sure? Tell me, Gregor, or Karl, or whatever your true name is. What do you want to do now?
I don't know. I'm not sure what I should do.
Well, at least you're prepared to think and not just play bloodhound for a pack of nobodies. And I'm glad you have your doubts.
I don't want to be like the people I'm looking for. If I have to kill, it should be for a reason, not because I enjoy it.
You know, we're both pawns in someone else's game. They have plans for us, but we don't have to let them use us. We can just forget all about it and go our own way. I was a bandit, and I was at Neuhof. I've robbed and stolen, but I swear to God I've never in my life slain innocent people. What I saw at Neuhof made me realize my life was worth shit, but I still had a chance to change for the better. Here in the monastery I've had plenty of time to think things over, but then you showed up and fucked it all up.
So the evildoer changes his ways and finds God. What exactly are you proposing?
Both of us can leave this place. You can go back to your people, and I can go somewhere where I can live out my life in peace, and no one will try to kill me. If we work together, we can both get what we want.
You're right. But the people who sent me will find out if I don't kill you.
They won't if we're clever about it. No one has to die. Before we make a run for it, we'll make it look like someone's killed me. Loads of blood, a tattered scrap of my habit, and footprints leading towards the river. No one will bother looking for my body there. There we'll split up. You go for your bounty, and I'll get as far away from here as I can.
Good. Let's do it your way.
Good. I'm glad that despite our initial discord, we could reach an agreement. Here, take something to calm your stomach. Now we'll need the keys to the monastery and some blood to make the tracks.
What are you going to do?
I need to get ready for a long journey. Prepare supplies, get some normal clothing somehow. That sort of thing. You can escape in that habit, but I need to vanish as fast as I can.
What do I need the keys to the monastery for?
How else will we get out? This place is practically a prison.
Do you mean these keys?
What? I'm not going to ask you how you got your hands on those, you devious lad.
And where am I supposed to get my hands on blood in a monastery?
You'll find a parchment in the kitchen with a list of ingredients on it. All the things they're ordering. Add blood for making soup to the list. And when it's delivered the next day, take it before anyone notices it's even come.
Alright, that's everything I need to know. I can get started.
Excellent. Come and see me once you have everything. And try to be as fast as you can. And Gregor, thank you.
For if the disciple obeys with an ill will and murmurs, not necessarily with his lips, but simply in his heart, then even though he fulfills the command, yet his work will not be acceptable to God, who sees that his heart is murmuring, and far from
Gregor, talk to me.
Work as this, he will incur the punishment due to murmurers, unless he amend and make.
I was talking last night with the brother Cicators. It seems you're to fetch them a cask of wine. Like last time.
Hey, well... Yes, it's true.
I'd like to help you.
Would you really do it? To get hold of the wine, we'll have to leave the monastery for a bit. I know it's forbidden, but we've no other option. If wine started going missing here, someone would notice. But to leave the monastery, we need the keys. And only the prior has those.
Wait a moment. Are you saying I'm supposed to steal the prior's keys so I can go and steal wine somewhere else?
Well, you see why I don't want to do it myself now, do you? I don't have what it takes. I can't get those keys, but you could. Or you might be able to pick the locks.
But you've done it once before, haven't you?
Last time the prior was sick, and he left the monastery keys in the Circator's care. So they unlocked the gates for me. This time we'll have to steal the keys.
How can I get hold of the keys, do you think?
I don't know, but it might be possible to do this without them. Brother Celerius, the cellar keeper, used to be a burglar. He knows his way around locks, and maybe could help us, if you could find a way to arrange it.
Do you think he'll want to take part in theft?
No, but he could give some advice, or maybe get some lockpicks to open the gate. You'll figure something out.
If you think so, I can try.
Once you have the key or some lockpicks, come and see me and we'll make our plan.
About those keys.
Did you get them? Keys? Or at least lockpicks?
Yes, I have them.
In that case, come before midnight to the cloister garden. I'll be waiting for you there, and we'll head off.
I've read the abbot's book. It says in there that you're not as saintly as you make out. Actually, it seems like you're as lecherous as a boring rut.
You broke into the abbot's quarters to spy on me? You won't get away with it.
I wasn't interested in your opinion about what I did. What interests me is you and what the book has to say about you.
I'm not going to tell you anything. I'm going to report you.
Just try it, and I'll smack you so hard your feet won't touch the ground.
No, don't hit me. I won't say anything to anyone, I promise.
The rule of Saint Benedict. The first degree of humility is obedience without delay. This is the virtue of those who hold nothing dear to them. Service they have professed, and the fear of hell, and the glory of life everlasting. As soon as anything has been ordered by the superior, receive it. That his heart is murmuring, and far from gaining a reward for such work as this, he will incur the
What do you desire, Brother Gregor?
I'm here to work.
Excellent. I've been waiting for you. There's the alchemist's laboratory. You'll find ingredients in the chests next to it. Today's task, 2 cockerel potions. Once you finish them, you'll find me somewhere nearby. Don't forget to let me know when you're done so I can check them.
Salve Domini.
Someone really reads at Martin.
Right. It seems like a wine barrel in there, and it's not the first time.
Yeah, it's a mystery, but one that'll be soon solved. It's not surprising to check everyone's breath in the morning. They'd soon get in, man.
Salve, be well. Talk to me, brother.
I've finished my work.
Show me what you've made. Spectacular, Gregor. You've found your talent. Soon enough, you'll be teaching the other novices.
What is it, brother?
I'm here to work.
Good. This is most likely the first time you've ever done this in your life. But it's easier than you think. Just a bit of practice and learning Latin. Here's the original, and here are the blank parchments on which you'll copy what you read in the original. Is that clear? Then you may begin, and try not to make a mess of it.
No, no, no! I can't believe you've made so many mistakes. As follows. From Easter until the calends of October. When they come out from prime in the morning, let them labor at whatever is necessary until about the 4th hour. And from the 4th hour until about the 6th, let them apply themselves to reading. After the 6th hour, having left the table, let them rest on their beds in perfect silence. Or if anyone may perhaps want to read, let him read to himself in such a way as not to disturb anyone else. Let none be said rather early, at the middle of the 8th hour, and let them again do what work has to be done until vespers. Weak or sickly brethren should be assigned a task or craft of such a nature as to keep them from idleness, and at the same time not to overburden them or drive them away with excessive toil. Their weakness must be taken into consideration by the abbot.
Peace be with you, brother. Peace be with you.
Talk to me, brother.
Here I am.
You've come too late. We never get back in time. I'll wait again tomorrow, and this time come right after Vespers.
What do you want, brother?
You should. God be with you.
Brother, you were somewhere you shouldn't have been. Don't you know your place? Don't you know where you're permitted to enter and where your presence is forbidden?
Very well, brother. I accept my punishment.
Now, show me what you have on you. I must confiscate anything that's not allowed in the monastery.
Praise be to our Lord Jesus.
The Rule of Saint Benedict. times for each may be prescribed as follows. From Easter until the calends of October. When they come out from prime in the morning, let them labor at whatever is necessary until about the 4th hour. And from the 4th hour until about the 6th, let them apply themselves to read. After the 6th hour, having left the table, let them rest on their beds in perfect silence. Or if anyone may perhaps want to read, let him read to himself in such a way as not to disturb anyone else. Let none be said rather early, at the middle of the 8th hour, and let them again do what work has to be done until Vespers. Weak or sickly brethren should be assigned a task or craft of such a nature as to keep them from idleness, and at the same time not to overburden them or drive them away with excessive toil. Their weakness must be taken into consideration by the abbot. The rule of Saint Benedict, readings on humility. The first degree of humility is obedience without delay. This is the virtue of those who hold nothing dearer to them than Christ, who, because of the holy service they have professed, and the fear of hell, and the glory of life everlasting, as soon as anything has been ordered by the superior, receive it as a divine command, and cannot suffer any delay in execution. But this very
Praise be to Christ, brother.
I have everything we need for the escape.
Excellent. Straight after Vespers, we'll meet in the dormitory. We'll have to get it all done before the monks have finished dinner.
What exactly is your plan? And why can't we do it at night?
We're going to prepare a little riddle they'll never solve. And why at mealtime? Because we need the dormitory as well as the church to be empty. Then at night we'll escape. Do you follow? Take everything with you and don't forget the keys.
Good. Once evening mass ends, I'll be in the dormitory. I've heard you're from Vlashim.
Yes, why do you ask? And more importantly, where did you hear it? Since I'm quite sure I've never told you. Honestly, the monks like to gossip more than old wives at the market.
Because I've heard otherwise. You aren't from Vlashim, you made it all up.
And who told you that? Whoever it was, he's a liar. It's complete nonsense.
But this very obedience will be acceptable to God and pleasing to men only if what is commanded is done without hesitation. Delay, lukewarmness.
Stop, Gregor!
Brother? What are you doing here? Shouldn't you be working somewhere? Idle hands are the devil's workshop.
You're right, brother.
This is your first warning. Don't do it again.
Peace be with you, brother.
Praise be to God! For a moment there I was worried you weren't coming. Give me that blood. This is the exact spot where you pushed me off the gallery. And here's where you dragged my lifeless body. Thank you for helping me out. Now we must each go our own way.
I was glad to help. I did what I needed to do and no one got killed. What will you do now?
Now, get the hell out of here. Steal the first horse I come across and ride until dawn, far, far away from here. I was thinking... Here, take this. Show it to those cutthroat bastards and tell them you found it on me. That should convince them. Especially when they hear about the outcry here after the fires found out we've gone.
Your lucky die?
In a manner of speaking. I hope it brings you more luck than it brought me. Thank you. Thank you for letting me live, Brother Gregor.
My name's Henry.
All right, Brother Henry. May God be with you.